Greetings, everybody. I'm Ntaviseng Wejana and I am a spiritual medium. I trust that you are good, that everything is starting to make sense as to what are certain issues that are affecting your life. So, we have recently been talking about issues where people are saying, I have done this, I've done the cleansing, I've done whatever that was required, but no matter how much I do these things, certain things are not working out. And so the past few series or the past few videos on 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 your umbilical cord, how it was disposed of, on the names, on the surnames, and just really getting you from the root up, you know, and just ticking the boxes and saying, this is not the problem, this is not the problem, or okay, this could be the problem, you know. So some people, things are just not working out now when they are older, because there are certain things that have not been going correctly from when they were younger or when they were born. And that is the kind of series or the kind of information sharing that we have been doing lately, so that people understand that what else could be a problem along my journey of living. And so today, we are going to continue on that series, and we are going to be talking about your own birth pattern. The birth pattern, is it a pattern or a pattern? Depending on which English you speak. Do you speak American English or UK English? So, the birth pattern or pattern. But what it is talking about, it is the story that was forming an atmosphere of when you were born, right? So there are spiritual principles that govern certain things. For example, when I do my readings, I would require your name and surname, right? That is your own origins. That is how you are identified. And when I have your name and your surname, or whoever's name that you are giving me, then it is easy for me to retrieve a file about that particular life. For example, there are certain people who are astrologists, who are numerologists, who are even certain mediums that would use the date of birth so that they can get into your own life. So how you were born, or how you were identified, or the name that you were given from birth can get us into a spiritual file of yours, right? So equally so, it means that there is a certain story that your date of birth or your name can give. So it means that when you do that, somebody can tap into the atmosphere of what was happening around you when you were born. And so I want us to talk a little bit about that. What was the story of your life when you were born? What was happening? Where was the family? Where was the discussion between you and your parents? And certain things you find that they do not go right in your life because your own birth pattern is questionable, or some things did not happen correctly, or it was not harmonious, and that is why it will create certain circumstances in your life. And no matter how much you try to fix this, comply, do that ritual, break that egg, whatever, and we find that it is actually the story. It is actually the story. So now let me give you an example that I normally like to give. So let's say we are starting a business, you and I like to give this example. You and I are starting a business, and we will be selling blue bracelets, ne? We are just going to be selling pretty blue bracelets. And is it mint or turquoise? Oh, yes, but we're going to be selling sea color looking bracelets. And I will do the administration of it, and we will call them the eye bracelet, ne? That's the name of the business. Don't know. And then I say to you, I will do it. I will be doing the administration, and then you will do the sales and the marketing, and just the whole popularizing of the business, or getting people to be aware of the business, that we are now assigning roles to to each other. And so I get to do a mishap of the business administration. There are certain things that I don't do, and you and I fight as we are establishing this business. And so we then decide to reconcile, and the business goes ahead and it flourishes, right? And so, because now we have the fight, we have the agreement, we have the fight, and then we have the flourishing. These three things are going to be the birth pattern of the business. So that the business grows and it's big and it's trading there by JSE or wherever, it's a big business and it's flourishing, or it's just doing well. But the story of how the inception of this business came about, it will always follow the business. Now, think of yourself as the business, meaning that we would be having an agreement, and then we will fight, and then we will mend. Agreement, fight, mend. Agreement, fight, mend. Agreement, fight, mend. It will be the story of the business until somebody decides to cleanse the other parts that are negative to the business. So, what does this mean as an individual? There are certain people that I have been speaking to lately, and I find that their hurt goes very, very deep. It's very, very deeply seated, deeply rooted within them. The past few months, the past 3 months, I've been having a whole lot of clients who have been abandoned by their parents, and not to be overly desensitized by what's happening, but some people, they will have daddy issues, and I think we've come to normalize daddy issues, ne? And for the sake of this teaching, I am going to normalize it. But people who have been left by their mothers, people who have not been raised by their mothers, they seem to be having a serious, serious problem just finding themselves in this world. People that have been raised by their grandmother because mommy left to go look for employment somewhere else, and I was left raising by other people. It's noble when we're speaking of the grandmother, but we do not hardly ever go to these children and ask them, how did you survive? How did you feel being raised by other people? And you find that this group of people have very systematic abandonment issues. You know, I mean, I'm going to give you one typical example. So, most people will tell you I'm never on time for the readings, because in readings, a lot of things happen. It's chaotic. People are crying, and you can't tell a person, hey, stop crying now. Hey, it's time for my 10 o'clock. You can't. You are a person, you are in the moment, and you are healing. A variation of things happen when we are in readings. And so, you find that my next client, the next client that I'm going to have to go to, is a person that has the same story that I'm talking about. Their mother left them. Ne? And you just get into them, and you get a file about them, and you see that this person cannot move from the fact that you are 10 minutes late. And I'll be like, I'm sorry, I'm late. I had this thing going on. But you said you're going to be here at 10. Yes, I did. And I'm very sorry that I'm late. This is what had happened. But it's unprofessional. You can't do that to me. I felt that you were never going to come through. No, we'll make up for your 10 minutes. The deeper you get into this person, you realize there are systematic abandonment issues. And because by them asking for help from you, as in Tabi, right? Or from your ancestors coming through to them, and they've been waiting, apart from my long waiting list, and I thought I was going to do things better, but seemingly I'm never going to do things better, but it's because of the grace. We thank ancestors for working hard. Then you are then saying to this person, I know we have an agreement that I'll show up, but because I don't show up at the time that I'm expected, and there are deep-seated issues that today I was going to find my liberty. Today, certain things were going to be put into alignment for me, and this person gets to be 10 minutes late. They are delayed, they are not coming through. It is in my life story that people don't come through for me, you know, and it becomes a deep-seated thing at that moment. And we cry, people cry, and I'm like, go drink water because I need to read your energy. And right now, your spirit is all over the show. And I'm not condoning that I am late all the time, but I also want the people that I am late with to say to me, Kanete, this interview was there for me and she waited for me to be okay before she left. I want those people to exonerate me, okay? Yes, so they must vindicate me. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is not late coming. The point is I'm showing you how something this small can be something this big because it has a deeply seated, rooted place in this person's heart. And people, so who will fall under this category? People who their parents, mommy's pregnant, daddy doesn't want the child. And there's a discussion to say, I do not want this child. Your birth pattern automatically says that rejection is going to be a big part of your life. It's either people will reject you or you are going to have your own children who are going to be rejected by their father, or somebody along your story that means a lot in your life will reject you. People who have been abandoned. Uh, okay, maybe let's do another one on rejection. Mommy's pregnant and daddy says abort the child. So your birth pattern has a hint of death in it. So already before you can even start to live as a person, there's an introduction of death in your life. So pushing ahead and the threat of death becomes your birth pattern. And constantly, when you are constantly in danger, yazi ngicishe ngafa, when all your story, it has a lot of moments where your life is in danger. And when we are trying to cleanse you to do all of these things, we do not understand that you were rejected and there was a threat of your own life just not making it in the first place. So you are always just barely making it. You see. And so there are certain people who have been abandoned. Mommy has a job somewhere and she never comes back home and finds another family and finds another man, and now you are not even known as the daughter to mommy. You are a sister to mommy. You see how that family structure is even messed up. And now, not only are we abandoning you, but we are ashamed to own you when the moment comes. And now, when your story is full of shame, where people are hiding you, where you are a mistress in somebody else's life, when you are, people just can't say, this is Ntabi, she is my woman. You are always somewhere hidden under wherever. And when we check, we find that even how you are registered, how your existence is registered, it's a hidden thing. Some people will also hide you because I have a child by somebody and a handsome prince here tries to marry me, and I hide the fact that I have a child. And when the birth pattern, when the life story of this person is always you being hidden, we don't understand it. Why am I always attracting the same kind of guys who will love me? The next thing I am a mistress. I can even move from being a main woman to just being a mistress, and suddenly I now need to be hidden, and we don't understand what is your birth pattern. You see. Now, we are teaching this so that you yourself can fix your own birth pattern. And because right now we are at the ages where we need to watch the birth patterns of the people that we are bringing into existence. We ourselves are starting to be parents. We ourselves are parents, and we need to look at the birth story of these children that we have brought. There is another category of people who are born out of incest. Family members conceiving children with family members, and the bigger family hiding the identity of this child. And the birth pattern of this child will always be, I don't belong, I don't know where I am, and secrecy. So their own existence is shrouded with secrecy, is shrouded with mystery, people just not telling you stuff. You are always the last one to find out, or you will never find out. People come here in readings and find out from a reading that they're actually a product of rape, or they're a product of the uncle or the cousin, and the mother had consummated and had a child, or the mother was raped by an uncle, or the mother was raped by their father, and they are finding it when they are hearing their names. They've been having this name that is talking to the birth pattern of their life. You know, not necessarily that we are proud, this is our child, but it's like, what can we say? This is our child. So the atmosphere of your birth pattern really matters in life, you see. And so there are other people who keep on looking for their families. I'm looking for my father. I don't know who my father is. And when you're checking, you're finding out that no, your mom was raped. And for the first time, it's making sense. Even my name explains the atmosphere of my birth, but I was not understanding it. I was not getting it. But this circumstance has already put a black dot on a very clean slate. You know, the child is not guilty, or all of these other names that you would be given, that that will explain that there was something wrong with how you come about. And certain things will happen to you. You will attract people who would want to rape you or want to rape your offsprings. So you find that rape becomes the story of your life. And so now we need to understand how can we break these things off, right? Did we cover all categories? And the other issue is really abandonment, where a man is abandoning the children, and then he goes and picks up another family and stays with that family. And the children of this family, they have a confusion, a turbulence as they're coming through in their life. And then they themselves will go and deny other children. So because now my father denied me, and I saw that this is wrong, my mom was pregnant and my father denied that I am his product, I'm the child. And then the next thing, I get to have a child under the same circumstances. So your story will replicate itself. So I would get attracted by a woman that everybody is enjoying the dance with this woman. And then when this woman gets to be pregnant, I can then say, but it was John and James and Jeremiah and I, so how do I know that this is really my child? And therefore, no, and a child gets to be born. But because you are the story of the abandonment issue, you get to be again embroiled in another abandonment circumstance. So where you are, you have reasons. You can produce a track record to say, I am legitimate to be abandoning this child. But then you are not seeing that the story of your life keeps on escalating to the next generation. And you will feel yourself vindicated not to go and look for a paternity test so that you can take responsibility and break the pattern. You see how deep it goes. You find a man here, you are doing a consultation with him, Papa, they are saying there are children who are crying elsewhere. How many kids do you have? I have two in marriage. I have two somewhere else. I have one that I'm disputing. Bring the one that we are disputing. Bring them close. When we find the story, you are disputing them because you were disputed. And the deeper psyche in your subconscious, you know that it was wrong when it was done onto you, but then you can even advocate for it and subconsciously say, if I survived it, then that seed of mine or radile there can survive it too, because I survived it. But we are not nipping it in the bud. We are not cutting down these things, and therefore they become the birth pattern of ours. They become the birth pattern of the next generation. They will then become the birth pattern of the next other generation. So let's take responsibility. It starts with you. It really starts with you. And sometimes when you are born of this rejection, it is very easy for you to walk away from circumstances that want you to fix. You are in a relationship. They'll do whatever. If they don't want me, I am not going to even do it. But you need to fix it. No, I'm not going to. You need to fix it. No, they can do whatever. This is healing, guys. You find that you are fighting with a client yourself because the client just doesn't get it. And they don't see the snowball effect. They don't see the domino effect to say, if you don't solve it, you are going to be that great-grandmother yourself. You are going to be the great-grandfather yourself that could have stopped this thing that has long happened. Ne? So it starts with you, and unfortunately you are the victim, but you have to fix the birth pattern of your story. What's my birth pattern? What's my birth pattern? Hey, yeah, yeah. My birth pattern is this one. The other day, and yeah, I like healing and talking from my own experience because I really want us to heal each other. I'm not some perfect person who has mastered stuff. No, I go with it as we go along with it. What's my birth pattern? So recently I got engaged, right? And there was this wonderful man, and wonderful, everything going very, very well. We were good, and nothing was amiss. Came as for my hand in marriage, we had the dates and everything else, and I was like, oh my god, I'm a be a missus. So it was all nice, and it was good. He's a very wonderful man. But then the story of my birth pattern kicked in, and everything else went kutum. And I went to ancestors and I said, but did you not okay this guy? Did I not dream of this guy 6 months before I met him? Everything that has happened has also been in sequence. It has gone by the revelation, by everything else. And ancestors said, birth pattern, go heal your birth pattern. So my birth pattern is, my name is Ntabiseng. According to my mom, my dad had many other women, and she felt very frustrated by the cheating. So my mom was the other woman unknowingly, ne? And so what had happened is that when she found out that my dad got married to somebody else, I was already small or coming through, but within the first 8 months of my birth, there had been infidelity and there had been somebody else getting married and not my mom. So my mom finds out from her friend who used to work at a chemist. Remember, a long time ago they used to go and you would have take photos, and then you would come back and find your photos. Yes, they would say we are right cards, or we're going to watch the photos. That's like a proper translation, direct translation. Yes, then you would have your photos. I don't know, I forgot my photography 1-on-1 journalism class language, forgot it. But anyway, then my mom shows my mom's friend Shows my mom the pictures. Look, isn't this your person getting married? Oh. And that's the story, that the birth pattern of my life always had another woman somewhere lurking around. So, with the engagement, what had happened? What happened is that everything was going well, and the partner gave us the days, and we kept on moving the days because of many other spiritual reasons. And then finally, when we were getting to the real date, um, the now former fiance or former partner now says to me, Ntabi, I love you and all of these things, but we're supposed to have a polygamous marriage, right? And I'm like, okay, if that's what ancestors want, it's fine. So my own ancestors are also coming from a polygamous marriage. Like Tebing had 3 wives. My Tebing had 3 wives. So I just assume if this is what they want, they will cater for it. It's not a personal choice, but sometimes with the work that we do, you just find yourself just in the midst of things, and like I'm saying, there was a spiritual vetting of this guy. There was certain things, and we were right on spiritual schedule. But anyway, now we are having this agreement. Okay, we went through the first wife and second wife story, and we were okay. With me supposedly being the first wife, we were okay. Went through stuff, and then he gives us a date, and he then says, "But you must understand that before you get to be negotiated, before Lobola comes, I should identify a second woman." Then I'm like, that's not how it works. That's really not how it works, because how it works is that the both of us, we need to evaluate the needs of the new family that we are having. And we need to do it consultatively so with our ancestors, so that it is forming the bigger picture of what is required from your ancestors as the guy and my ancestors. And I'm like, is there the second woman being identified already? And he says, no. Okay, fine. I always try not to go and be a medium in my relationships. I always, I never win, but I always try. So I'm like, no, if there's a second woman being identified, you and the woman go ahead, marry each other, and then you will come and get me if I am still required a woman in this particular marriage that you are going for. And he says, no, it's you that's required, but you need to know that somebody needs to be identified. And it was war, bis. It was war. Let's go reevaluate. Let's go ask each of our ancestors and find out what exactly is going on here. And when I asked my ancestors, they said, no, fine, we'll go back together again. We got back together again. And in the midst of everything, I was like, yeah, I know, man. Why do I always have this story? What is going on? Because even in my relationships, I would be the girl and somebody else would come. Somebody would have a child with somebody that I'm with, and then I now get to be hidden and I don't understand. And now, when I went and asked ancestors that I need somebody that is for me, somebody that is for the gift, somebody that is for the calling, and ancestors bring this guy, and he was very well vetted. I swear by everything that I'm capable of seeing what goes on in the spirit. And when now recently, when we are getting back together again, and I am asking the ancestors, what is the real story behind this union? And this ancestor says, the emergence of the second woman was meant that you need to fix your birth pattern, because there has been a woman lurking around when your mom and you were coming into this world with your father. So the issue lies with your father. It's like, whew, that's the story of my birth pattern. So how am I ever gonna get it right? I asked ancestors, and they kept on saying I must have this teaching, as you know, as we were doing the umbilical cords and everything else. I think in that video I started to say we'll teach about the birth patterns, and every time I had a so what moment. Okay, so what do we do now? And I didn't have a so what, and ancestors said to me that I need to go do a ritual that was once done when my brother and I were little, and many things had been done in our lives, and we were severely tampered with, extremely tampered with. The witchcraft of our lives. And so, maybe today that's the reason why the both of us are called to. Somebody said my job title is to fix the nation, to fix the nation. So Spirit was saying, and I wish to do a demonstration of this one, and I'm going to do it when I do find the time to demonstrate. I'm just always working on a very tight schedule. The demonstration that I will do, I'm just going to say it now to say of the issues that we spoke about today. What do? You go get Spaletta cool drinks. You find the raspberry, that's the red one. You find the green one, that's cream soda. And so, Pesci's signaling that it's time for me to get into a consultation. Let me quickly do this one, and that's the reason why I could not do a demonstration. Pesci's my trusted assistant. So, you have these two cool drinks. You can have it in 2 liter or 1.25, ne? 1.25. So you will have one raspberry, one cream soda, ne? The cream soda, the red one. And then you will find a string of wool, a white one. And then you will cut it to the size of maybe a phone or a pen. You will cut a string, ne? One string. You'll cut one string and put it inside the raspberry. You'll cut the other string and put it inside the cream soda. You will have a white candle that you are going to light it overnight as you are praying for these two cool drinks, ne? The white strings there represent your court. It represents your court, the outer part and the inner part, ne? So each of the cool drinks will be having a white string, smaller than a white string. They will be in there. You will pray overnight and pray to breaking each and every curse of your own personal life. Don't pray for the curses of the family. We are poor, we are abandoned, don't clap it in. We are really fixing you. It's one of those things. Put on your mask first before you can put a mask on somebody. So we are fixing your life because it's the birth pattern of Ntabi, ne? It's not the birth pattern of me and my sisters. Yeah, we are all born under the same birth pattern, ne? We understand. Good. So you will light it. You will light a candle overnight with those two cold drinks opened, opened, opened. Overnight, you are praying and you are going to let that candle burn out. Only the following day, you will start using the cool drinks in your bath water to bath with. So you can have your soap and your bubble bath and then pour the cold drinks. Use your own discretion, ne? Maybe you can just do a quarter of a cup, one raspberry, quarter of a cup, the cream soda, and then you bath and you speak to your life. The candle is not there because it burnt out yesterday. You only have the wool that is inside. You don't bath with the wool. Leave the wool inside until the cool drinks finish. Remember they are moving in one, in one what do you call it? One measurement. They are moving. Every day you are bathing with this thing. Don't obsess over. If you are somewhere in an interview and you've not bathed with it, don't go, oh my God, something is going to go wrong because today I didn't. Don't obsess. You're going to bath with it and speak to your life. Reverse each and everything that is a story of your life and it was not meant by God to become a story of your life. Any other thing that has become a blemish in the story of your life must be cut. Any other thing in your birth pattern that is causing you to be rejected, to be abandoned, to abandon others, to reject others, to feel ashamed, to be hidden, to be chosen, for other people to be chosen over you, Yes, speak to it. And then what you then do when the cold drinks finishes, you have the two strings, and then you will pour it into the last bath. They will go into the last bath and then you will bath with them. After, you will take the two strings, put them there to dry, and then you will bend them as they've dried. So that is normally how you would be disposing of your own umbilical cord. Once it has dried, you will burn it. Ne? And then you can just discard the ash. I love you endlessly. May the good Lord be with you. May you prosper in everything that you do. May you remember that you are also responsible for the birth pattern of your own lineage, and be very careful as to how you are doing it. If you're going to be having babies with married men, understand what is the ramifications. If you are going to be doing whatever, if you're going to be having your one night stands, if you are going to be having all of these things, remember that you are creating a birth pattern for somebody else, and one day is going to be the burden of theirs to alleviate that circumstance. May the good Lord be with you. I love you endlessly. Tell me how it goes with you, and remember, you are starting a business. You are starting a business. You are going to be that great grandmother one day that we refer back to, and we try to praise, or we try to fix their story. Be responsible about your own generation that you are bringing. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye.